Heiss, Congressman from the 9th District of Georgia, now becoming a regular on our show. That's the Northwest Virginia area. Used to be represented, is that a word? Represented by now two-term Governor Nathan Deal. He's got big shoes to fill. He's doing a great job. Representative Doug Collins. Congressman, great to have you.
Oh, John, it's always good to be with you.
We always have fun when you're on the show. You always fire me up because you're so full of energy. And
again, if I can get you fired up, getting ready for your last holdout of, if McAuliffe had not come on this show, I'm just surprised he's anybody. I mean, come on, he's held out. We'll get you fired up, ready for that one tomorrow.
I know you got to get me fired up. He was the last holdout in Virginia. I get everybody on, but he wouldn't come on, and we understood. We tried to get him on, and he said, "Well, his staff doesn't like you," and I'm like, "Governor,
yeah, the truth hurts."
What's not to like, right?
I love it.
Anyway, finally he's coming on tomorrow. So we promised to be very nice to him. One thing about our governor, kind of like Deal in Georgia, he's very enthusiastic about Virginia. So I might not agree with him ideologically on some stuff, but his fervence for Virginia is second to none. And so we appreciate that. Now, Congressman, you're involved in a whole bunch of stuff. I know you've been on the forefront, basically, of fighting all this crazy amnesty stuff. Let's get to this. Let's get to this $4 trillion spending plan that the president submits to Congress. I mean, is this a serious proposal or not?
Well, no, it's not a serious proposal. It's not even a serious liberal proposal. I mean, do you see any of the Democrats on the Hill running to say, "Oh, this is the best thing we've ever seen"? No. I mean, I think what you're looking at here, and I can be sort of funny about it, I think the president's preparing for his next career as a fiction writer. Well, he did a pretty good job here. And what's concerning, though, John, I think this is something that everybody needs to be concerned about since the last election when the people spoke widely across the country, especially about direction and spending and things that Republicans were running on. The president has seemed to be on just basically a turn left mentality. I sort of call it a NASCAR mentality. So, when he comes to a problem, he turns left. Mm-hmm. And that's going to cause an interesting gridlock here in Washington because, there's us who believes that, one, his budget is ridiculous. This is not a Robin Hood game. This is a game about real lives, real people around tables every day who get up and decide, I need to make a living so that my kids can do the things that maybe I want to do or that I never had the chance to do. We've got to focus on them instead of focus on these Robin Hood kind of games of saying, I don't like this group of people, so I'm going to tax them and fix them, and not focusing on the American people and their problems and their issues.
Exactly. And you look at this spending plan, it's another $75 billion in discretionary spending. But beyond that, what's troubling is it doesn't even balance the budget now. It's adding a minimum, Congressman Collins, of another $500 billion to the already $18 trillion debt that we have. Yep. And there's no mention of it. Like, it just can go on in perpetuity, no problem. Eventually, this thing has got to crash.
Well, it will. You really wonder. Excuse me. Did the president ever, before he became in public, did he ever get a loan? Did he ever go to a bank? Did he ever go and say, I want some money. I don't know when I'll pay it back. I may get around to it. I may not get around to it. And a bank actually say, okay, well, we'll give you money. The concerning part in this budget is, like I said, it never ends. It just is more tax increase, more spending, more of things that, just frankly are wedge issues designed to, I think, and I think you had said it a little bit earlier, to design to, basically pick a fight with Congress, if you would. I mean, there's a part in here where he wants $1 billion to curb Central American immigration. Why don't we just start with a novel idea called enforce the law? You don't need $1 billion more to do something that you've caused the basic problem of by rolling in an amnesty, promise to people walking across our borders. Those are the kind of things that frustrate the American people.
Well, it sure is. And his whole amnesty thing, you've heard this great sucking sound now, people trying to come over because they know eventually they'll get amnesty or they'll get Dreamer, they'll get something. So it's just worth the risk. Now, what happens to this thing? I mean, for the people I've talked to, Congressman Collins, it's dead on arrival. Yep. So what happens now?
Well, I think it'd almost be funny to make the Democrats vote on it.
That's a good idea.
Put it on the floor, let the Democrats vote on it. Let's see how many morning. I mean, it's like it was a few years ago. All the Democrats will vote against it because they don't want to be attached to this. They don't want to go home to their people, people and make the argument that this is a good thing when most of them will end up paying more taxes. Most of them are going to have more government regulations. And our community, really what it hits, he keeps claiming to help the middle class and to help the ones that he's trying to grow. But you and I both know that, your listeners know, that the ones who create jobs are what he deems this decided middle class. They're the ones out there trying to get the new loan to start that new body shop or to start a new coffee shop or a deli, to get a chance to have a life better. And yet they're running into regulation, red tape, and they're saying, oh, by the way, what is interesting to me is he wants tax reform, but he doesn't willing to discuss S corps and C corps and pass-throughs, which are right at the very heart of small businesses. He just frankly doesn't get it, and I think the American people are starting to see that more and more, and it's why the frustration level rises among those who actually want to attempt to do better.
Back to what you said, I thought is really interesting. I don't know if you've presented this idea to leadership, but man, I think you hit it on the head. Why not bring it to the floor and let Democrats vote on it up or down, just as it is? I think that's a great idea.
Well, I think it's definitely something to look at, because this is the fight that I have on the floor all the time with, especially when I go down and whether it be on rules debate or other things, is we present this vision, and inside the little cloister of Washington, D.C., they try to make this argument that we're for the American people, but they do so in terms that people won't pick up on. And so, I think we've had some of the clearest arguments we can have on the floor of the House in saying, okay, here's a party who wants the government to control your economic situation, the government to control and work with your banks and take over all these aspects of your economic life and all these aspects of your world. But yet at the same time, here's Republicans who the mainstream media doesn't want to pick up many times, talking about what I'll call the tabletop issues. I always call it talking to my friends at the Waffle House where I eat all the time. Mm-hmm. If I can explain it to the guys who get up every morning, have mud on their shoes, and get up and go to work, and they do their job, they just want a chance. They want a government that does what it's supposed to do and gets out of the rest. When we can have those kind of arguments, it makes a stark difference for the country. And I think this presents a very stark. Do you want a Robin Hood mentality? Do you want a class warfare culture that this president is cultivating? Then put it on the floor. Democrats, if you like this plan, then stand on your principles, your liberal principles, and vote for it. And then go home and explain it. But,
exactly.
I think the Republicans won't.
Well, that's one other thing that we have in common is we both eat at Waffle House. See, I love Waffle House, so I'm glad to hear that you eat that, because it's greasy and all that stuff. But I love Waffle House just for what you said, because it's real working people, and besides that, it's cheap. U.S. Congressman Doug Collins, Republican, Georgia's 9th District. That's the Northwest Georgia area. Congressman Collins, let's get to amnesty and defunding Homeland Security. The president and the Democrats now asking for a clean Homeland Security funding bill. We knew that would happen. What will you guys do?
Well, I think right now is time for Mitch McConnell. It's time for the senators to stand up and fight. Look, I get the numbers game. I understand that they're at 54, they're not 60. I get that. But also, I think the American people want to see the Senate, who have talked, who, especially our Republican friends over there who've been out of the majority for a while and was able to tell everybody what they wanted to do. Well, now they have a chance to actually say do what they can do. And that's what I want to see happen over there. I want to see them take this to the floor. I want to see them, ask for, continue to start the votes to close debate. Let's vote on amendments if need be. Let's do those things, put them on record, and let's do everything we can at this point in time, and then let's see where it goes. But until the Senate acts, I think the House needs to watch them do something for a change.
I tell you, I think that's a pretty refreshing perspective. Is that view shared amongst the majority of your colleagues?
I believe it is. And because what we don't want to do over here, what we've gotten into, John, up here, in all fairness, is we've gotten into negotiating with ourselves in the House. When we had Harry Reid over there, we're trying to predict what they were going to do, and sometimes we would negotiate with ourselves. That's not a good way to negotiate. So now the Senate, they won the Senate, they've got 54. It's time for them to do their job.
Right.
It's time for them to show the American people that they're working at. The American people will understand things that they may not completely like but would work with if they see somebody fighting to say, we've done everything we possibly can. And if that's my message right now to our friends over there, Mitch McConnell and others, it's time to try to do your job.
So at the end of the day, Chairman McCall's bill, Mike McCall from Texas, Chairman of Homeland Security, one of your colleagues, when that came up in Virginia, Dave Pratt, went absolutely ballistic over it. A lot of people went up in arms. It got tabled. Where is that thing now?
I think they're still working on it. I think part of the problem is how quickly, and the issue that came up on that is how quickly some of the issues in the border security were actually, to be enforced. And I think there was a concern over 5 years instead of why not 2 years.
Right.
I mean, I think this is something fairly that should be done for a president who touts his deportation rate. Then he should be willing to embrace anything to strengthen up because he supposedly is already doing it. Well, we know that all that is you're playing with numbers. Deportation means that you're turning them away at the border, and he's counting that as a deportation. That's not what we're talking about. I think what we're also going to be looking at as we go forward, and we passed this out of the House Judiciary Committee on which I served last Congress, and that is an inland enforcement bill that provides inland enforcement authority, which it supplements the border security at the border. And then I think then you begin the process of building trust so that we can look at other areas of need in our legal immigration system. But until you actually get a workable plan that is deemed in a time frame that can work, I think it's going to struggle up here. I think there's some good aspects of the plan, but I think we've got to find the workable aspects of it and do it on a time frame that actually gets something done.
All right, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Also, we want to thank Congressman Doug Collins for being with us, two-term congressman from Georgia's 9th District, Republican. That's Northwest Georgia. And he's been standing firm against amnesty. Look, you want more info, you go to dougcollins.house.gov, dougcollins.house.gov. And let me tell you the other thing to do. When you get there, sign up for the Doug Collins e-newsletter.